Alright guys, we are back with another video, and today we have a festival video. We have the XYZ Link Festival. We actually have a fair pair of festivals, but today I'm just covering this one. This is the XYZ Link one. They do have some decent loner decks, so you've got Earth Machines, which are pretty decent. You've also got the Live Twin, but this build is a little iffy. It's not bad though. Overall it's not bad. You could definitely do worse, but I'd say it's a half decent build. It's got Deep Sea Diva summons itself. It's got level 2s. It's got a bunch of it's honestly not that bad of a build. You can probably get away with it. And then you've got the this is Raid Raptors, and Raid Raptors are basically a Link XC deck themselves. So you've got 3 decks that are all fairly good, to be honest with you. Any one of these loner decks is cool. But let's go look at some of the built decks. Now, before we get started, would you like to make your Master Duel experience a whole lot better?
Are you ready to take your Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel play experience to a new level? The Untapped GG Companion is here for you. Use the deck tracker to know exactly what cards you have in your deck, and to go over any cards you aren't familiar with yet by hovering over them. It instantly updates when you draw a card, and automatically hides if you check your extra deck or graveyard. This is the perfect tool to help you master a new deck. The Untapped GG Companion also lets you import decks directly into the game in seconds. Copy any YDK or YDKE deck string, create a new deck in game, click the Start Auto Import button, and let us take the wheel. Once the duel is over, check your win rate on your personal stats page. Brag among your friends and share your decks so they can import them into the game too. Start your path to master today by downloading the Untapped GG Companion at ygom.untapped.gg.
Okay, so the first deck we've got here is actually Traptrix. Traptrix is a really strong deck. It's probably one of the better. It actually is probably the best trap deck that you could possibly play in this festival. You can mix up the ratios a little bit, but this deck is very good. There aren't a lot of floodgates, and also Labyrinth is completely hit on this ban list, which is actually kind of understandable that Labyrinth is hit because it's dominated so many festivals, and I think they just want to give us a little break from it, which is totally fair. But Traptrix, as far as a trap deck goes, is probably the strongest option that you have available to you. It's easily a top 5 trap deck in general, so when you take Labyrinth out of the equation, it becomes a very good one to play. Overall, this is a strong deck. It lets you set up a lot of interruptions going first, and it's just very tough to play through a Traptrix board if they manage to establish something. Also, Lightning Storm is banned in this event, so unless they're running Harpy's Feather Duster, they're going to have a tough time getting through your back row, and you obviously have a lot being that you're playing traps. You also have things like Ref Legion, stuff like that can activate additional traps out of your deck. But overall, I think this is one of the stronger trap decks in this festival. And next up is Goblin Biker. Now, Goblin Biker is a cool rank 3 strategy, but it can use other engines, which is cool. It can use generic Xseed stuff very easily. It also has a lot of space for kind of like extra deck stuff, and honestly the rarity of this deck really isn't actually that high, which I think is one of the cooler aspects of this deck, is that yeah, it's a fairly low rarity deck. You've got the extra deck is a lot of generic Xseed monsters, and then you've got only really 2 URs. Actually it's just this card right here. There's 2 copies of it. The rest of these cards you should probably have for other decks anyway, where if you don't have them you should probably craft them. But you've got things like the Zeus. You've got things like a Divine Arsenal. Yeah, you've got Zeus, Anti-Zeus. You've got the full armored Knight, which you can use just as an engine generally. This engine is really good. It can steal your opponent's monsters. Also, this deck in itself can attach monsters your opponent controls as material. This IP Masquerade should really not be here. I was playing SP Little Knight, but it's banned in this event, so just replace it with another, like a good generic rank 3, and that should be good enough. Maybe like a Shark or something. But yeah, this deck is very good. It attaches your opponent's monsters to material. It uses the XYZ armored engine. And what's cool about festivals is that you can use the festivals as an opportunity to learn a new deck. So this perhaps can be the deck that you learn for this festival. It is a very fun deck to play. It's able to play on both players' turns. Overall, it's just a very strong rank 3 engine. It's probably the strongest rank 3 engine that I can think of, other than maybe Phantom Knights. Burning Abyss, this might actually be a stronger rank 3 engine at this point. All right, next up is Sky Striker. Now, Sky Striker, as you notice, is a all Link deck, but that's not a problem. This is another deck that just kind of never gets hit on the ban list, weirdly enough. And not just on the ban list, but it never seems to get hit on the... It never seems to get hit on any of the festival ban lists, and it somehow, some way, always manages to slip through. So whenever there's like a Link Festival, or I think the last like 3 festivals I had, this is one of the better decks available to you. The only issue is, I'd say, it is a little bit of a high rarity deck, but a lot of people are very, very big fans of this archetype generally, so probably you are going to be playing it anyway. SP Little Knight is banned, so I mean that hurts the deck a little bit, but it's not the end of the world because you have access code and you have everything else basically still available to you. Like I said, this is a very, very strong deck, and in a format like this where there are a lot of cards that are banned, MLCE's banned, a lot of things are banned in general, this deck is actually really, really good because it can search outs to pretty much any situation. I definitely recommend this deck for this festival. There's a lot of waifu decks in this festival, which is kind of odd, but yeah, this one is definitely in there. All right, next up we've got Live Twin Sprite. This is actually also a loner deck, so if you don't want to play this build or you don't want to build your own, you can actually just play the loner deck that they give you, which is honestly completely serviceable. Obviously a constructed build is always going to be slightly better than the loner build because a loner build is going to be lacking cards, and obviously you can't edit a loner build because it's just the card that they give you. The loner build, I just think, has too many trap cards, I think, is the issue with it generally. This has more generic cards, starters, stuff like that. But the other cool thing about this is that you've got the new bundle that's come out, so I imagine a lot of people are probably buying that bundle and probably getting a decent amount of cards out of that. And because they are getting a decent amount of cards, you can easily build this deck. The deck isn't actually that high rarity of a deck if you look at it. So in terms of the main deck, the only high rarity card is Secret Password. Other than that, like, there's nothing in here. Obviously, we're not counting hand traps because you probably already own those. But other than, like, this is the only high rarity card, the Secret Password. Outside of that, there's nothing really here that you really need, and that's maybe a 1 to 2 of. You have Sunny Snitch, which is a 3 of, but it's a super rare anyway. In terms of the extra deck, you've got the Sprite stuff, which is the Gigantic and stuff like that. That's kind of high rarity, but most of this Live Twin stuff is not high rarity. Again, a Sprite card, high rarity, and then you've got the Evil Twin Trouble Sunny. Honestly, you could easily get away with like maybe 2 of these. I don't know why I removed 3, but you could get away with 2 of these. And it not really slow down the deck, being that you just lean more into the Gigantic, more into the Sprite stuff. If you just replace like one of these with a Sprite Exceed monster, I think you're good to go. You don't even have to stress too much about it. But yeah, overall, I think this deck is, I would say, probably one of the better decks available, and you probably have a lot of the cards just because the new bundle includes them anyway. Next up, we've got Madolche. This is another, again, it's like all waifu decks this time around. This is another deck that is heavily slept on. It is a very, very heavily slept on deck. I'd say the only hit that this deck sustained, you can run Pankatrops, which I didn't check if this was if it was legal in this particular festival, and also you can run Fenrir for sure, which again I didn't check if that was legal, but you could definitely run Fenrir if you wanted to. Fenrir is pretty decent in this deck, but Fenrir, Pankatrops, and also the Earth Barrier statue technically is kind of hit on this. But overall, the deck is really good, and not only is it good, but it also received a ton of support. Not a ton of support, but the cards have a ton of impact despite being a little bit of support. So you've got the new Trap card, which bounces. You have the Link monster, Link 3, which is also very good. And then you've also got one more card somewhere around here. I'm forgetting where. Oh yeah, you've got the new, this thing right here, the Queen Tiramisu, the new one available to you. It has a quick effect that lets you shuffle cards back, which is also really good because this was not a quick effect. No, this one, I clicked on the wrong card. This is actually the card I'm trying to click is the Tiramisu. Yeah, this doesn't target, but it's not a quick effect. This one actually shuffles back and is a quick effect, which is really, really good. So that card's really good. All 3 new support cards are really good. They didn't give them a monster, but the new 3 support cards are quite decent. This is easily in a normal format, a rank, like a tier 3 deck, but this is completely and totally unhit. So because every other deck basically gets hit, this gets bumped up to like the tier 2, tier 1 possibly in this festival. It's another kind of like cool deck that is available to you. All uses naturally just uses just links and XYZ anyway, so it's a perfect deck for this particular format. All right, last deck is potentially the best one because it sustained virtually no hits either. A lot of the decks that I've shown sustained maybe 1 or 2 hits. This is another one. Just maybe you lose the synchro monsters, but other than that, it literally lost pretty much nothing. This is Mathmech. This is the one of the more current builds of Mathmech. One of the most more up-to-date modern versions of the Mathmech deck. But this deck overall is quite strong, very easy to combo off with, extremely easily, and like I said, pretty much at full power if you look at this. I mean, this is like the only thing I think I replaced is I put in Baguska and I put in Dugaris, and I replaced a Link monster, a Fusion monster, and a Synchro monster. That's pretty much all that I even had to replace. And I don't think the deck really misses a beat without them. I guess you can't go into like Final Sigma and stuff like that, but that wasn't the main way that you were OTKing or finishing games anyway. You have Axis Code Talker, you have Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid, which is also like 5,000 attack once all of the attack boosts are there. I mean, this deck is extremely versatile. It puts up a fairly good board going first. Going second, it can easily break wards, OTK. It's got things like droplets, imperm. It plays a ton of hand traps, just like all the decks that I've shown. It plays a ton of hand traps. Has a fairly easy time OTKing through boards. But yeah, this is again another deck that there's a lot of decks that on this list could be the #1 deck going here. But it's tough to really decide until the festival actually starts. But if I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. And thank you for watching. La 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 la.